Okay, I'm just going to show you real quick how I tarped this bed. This is bed number 35. I tarped another bed, but this one also is going to get tarped. Now this one, the reason why it looks as bad as it does is that there were some very tall weeds in here. This, by the way, is a mosquito dunk. It hasn't been used. And I didn't pull enough rocks to hold it down. So I'm going to completely pull this up. In this bed is a ton of really tall weeds. And that was the first issue that I had, is I didn't get rid of the tall weeds. I just kind of bought the tarp and threw it. My bed's 4 foot by 8 foot, made with 4 foot by 8 foot lumber. So I bought 6 foot by 10 foot tarps to make sure that they could go over the edges. So the one thing I want to do is I want to remove this Creeping Charlie. This is Creeping Charlie. I could do a thing on Creeping Charlie. Creeping Charlie is a vine. It has somewhat shallow roots, but it is very aggressive. I found out it was sold actually as a plant in a nursery. So this is what I'm looking at. It is all through my yard. It is through the lawn. Unless I do some extensive weed killing, there's really isn't any way I'm going to get rid of it. So I just deal with it. It stays somewhat out of my beds if I don't let it get in. If I see it start coming around the edges, it usually comes in by the edges, and that's where I have my problems, is around the edges. Once it starts getting a hold, then I've got another whole problem on my hands. So I try not to. Most of my beds, I do have Creeping Charlie. I'm not going to say I don't, but the best way to control it is just to keep pulling it. It really just isn't that strong of, I'm going to say it's not that strong of a weed. Okay, so I don't mean to pull all the weeds out of this bed. I'm trying to get this Creeping Charlie because it is coming over the edges. I do not want the Creeping Charlie coming over the edges so that, get this cut. I don't want this sticking through the tarp. They're not expensive tarps, so I'm expecting that things can poke holes in them. And the reason you put the tarp in is to stop water and light from getting to your plants. If you've ever left something on your lawn, you know, a bag, a toy, you know, something blue there, you didn't realize it, and you end up with that dead spot in your lawn, this is the same principle. Just getting rid of the light. Also trying to get rid of some of the moisture. And again, this Creeping Charlie is hanging over the edges. It is a very hot day today, so I'm kind of glad to be back here under the big silver maples because it's cooler. It's always cooler under a tree. But anybody that's grown a vegetable garden knows you need sunlight. There's a big rock in there. Okay, so let's get these cut. I could probably just leave them here and let them rot down, but I'm going to pull them. This is a wild rose here. Before you think, save the rose. No, wild roses aren't like that. They're very short-lived roses. Small. They only live a few days. I've had them before, and their thorns are just incredible. They make, ooh, look at this big mess here. They make a big prickly mess. We have them as weeds in the back. They're not a domesticated rose by any means. I think I'm just going to cut these shorter. They've already fallen over. I knocked most of these over with my foot. I thought they would stay down, but then I started seeing them poke up, so I thought, well, I better get rid of them. Let's get rid of them. There happens to be a tree in here, which was one of the reasons why I couldn't tarp the bed also. So let's get rid of this little tree. Oh, maybe I can't. Maybe my clippers are just not enough. Oh, no, that one worked. Sometimes if With the clippers, you just go one way and then you go the other. Sometimes that two-step is all you need. Okay, so again, got to get this creeping Charlie from trailing off the edge, because it will give the plant and the roots life. And this will just be so much easier when I come back and I'm ready to plant. I'm still kind of hoping that I can get flax in. I don't think flax is a long growing season. Then I can collect the flax seeds. I also wanted to grow the flax because I know it can be used in cordage. Linen is actually from flax, which I was absolutely, I had to watch video after video. Does not look like an easy process. Okay, so here, all this stuff that's trailing over the edge. I'm not worried about getting the roots out of this bed because they just will not stand. I can smell there's some mint in this bed. And this will work fine on the mint too. Everything will be gone. So when I come back and I show you this bed, I'm thinking it'll take, I don't know, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Whoops. Something just made noise. Okay, who else heard it? Just me? I heard it. Do I have rabbits in here? Do I have a frog? I don't see anything. I just heard a chirping, which automatically makes me think rabbits. They have like a little light chirp. I don't see anything. It was over there mostly. There's nothing here. They like the thick. They love the thick stuff. If there's rabbits over here, what I'll do is I will not put a tarp. Or if I do put a tarp, I won't hurt animals. Even if the animal is going to, I do not have any fondness for deer. But to me, rabbits have such a short life cycle and a life, right there, whatever it is, it's right there. But I don't see anything. Oh, I see something there. There's something there moving. Let's see if we can zoom in. There seems to be something there, right in there. That's from getting the noise, I think. Get this camera. It looks a little raised there. Oh, see if I can keep the camera somewhat. Something's been digging. It looks nesty-like. I both want to figure out what it is and so much. That doesn't look like rabbit though. That is a nest. That is clearly a nest. Okay, so change of plans. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go get a crate, put it over that little area, and then put the tarp. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to put a crate over the area because now I've left this nest completely unprotected. It could be mice for all I know. It could be voles. I'm not quite sure what it could be, but that clearly is not a grown nest. That is clearly something an animal has made. So we will leave it alone because I don't, even though it may destroy my garden, I don't harm wildlife. I don't need them for food. And for those people who hunt deer, that's good for you. Like, I'm glad you can do that. I don't have the heart to do it, and I know I don't. And if you use it for food, that's awesome. Now, if you hunt for sport, I may have a slightly different opinion, but I really want to know what that is, but I'm not going to disturb it. So I don't know if I'll even post this video. Maybe I will. I said too much. I don't want to make people mad at me just because I have a different opinion. I am not of the kind of person who will tell you how to live your life. If it works for you, it works for you. But I do not know what that is. So much for getting rid of that mint that's right there. But I will leave it for a few days and see what happens. All right, this is Joanne out. This is bed 35. Gardening, it has its challenges. I did run into rabbits earlier this year. I was able to leave them. They're gone now, but I do not know what that is. So, all right, take care for now. Have a great night. Bye. Okay, this is bed 35 again. I just put a crate over whatever it was. The holes in these crates are big enough for a full-size rabbit to get in, and whatever else might need to get in and out of there. So, gardening challenges. And a little note about those crates. My husband had bought a whole bunch of them. He had seen somebody that had composted in them because they let air and, they let water through and stuff. It didn't work. So, but I appreciate that he tried. So, again, whatever's living in there, we're going to let live. Okay, time to move on. Bed 35.